The nominees for the American Country Music Awards are in, and the trio Lady Antebellum is up for Vocal Group of the Year.
The multi-platinum group has won 9 Grammy Awards and sold more than 18 million albums, and we are happy to welcome Charles Kelly, Hillary Scott, and Dave Haywood of
Lady Antebellum.
That's right.
That wasn't as in harmony as we
We
thought.
shocked you. First of all, congratulations, guys. This is so wonderful. Vocal Group of the Year. This is an award that's sort of near and dear to your hearts because back in '08, you won that very same category.
Yeah, it was our first award that we ever won was an ACM. So it was a big, a big launching pad. I think, the exposure you get from a show like that. And it was actually one of our first performances. We performed "Run to You" on the show. I mean, it really is just an amazing platform for these artists.
You guys are pretty much award show veterans. I mean, I was looking at the list and I'm like, Grammys, Billboard, People's Choice, Teen's Choice, CMAs, and of course, ACMs. I'm wondering what the American Country Music Awards award show is like, though. What's it like to go there?
It's a little bit looser. I think Vegas has something to do with that. I think it brings out a little bit of party in everybody, and also, it's a great place when you get outside of Nashville, because the other main country award shows in Nashville, you're kind of on vacation. So I think it just brings a whole different energy, and the performances are always really, really exciting. A lot of collaborations, and it's like a reunion for us with our
see
friends.
A lot of friends. I mean, a lot of these artists, they're touring all year long, and so this is the 1 time, 2 times a year. You can hang out backstage all afternoon for a few days with these people. Luke,
they're a little looser backstage on the alcohol. They are. It's funny. Like
Luke Bryan,
I was gonna say Luke hosts the thing, and you walk into his little dressing room. I always go in there when I need a drink. He's got a full bar set up.
Nice.
So basically, it's spring break. Country
there
music
you go.
stars.
I always feel that, like, in the country music world, that the artists and performers are a lot closer than perhaps maybe in some of the other genres. You guys all know each other, or you may have known each other coming up. Is that true?
Oh, for sure. I mean, gosh, like Luke and I mean, we were all kind of coming up the same time, and
Dave and Charles co-wrote Luke Bryan's first #1.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So we're all tied in together.
We've all watched each other come up and like really close, even with like Little Big Town, who's also in the group category. I mean, when we first all started having kids, it was like we would ask them for advice. What's it like to take a kid on the road? Do you put them down in the bay, by the engines, or
so
what?
that's actually
like to take a kid
I was
on
going
the
to say
road.
that's new because, like, rock and roll. I love that Journey video. You ever see that? I think it's Open Arms or one of their corny songs, and it's like life on the road, and it's like the kids are at home, the wife is at home, but now in 2017, people.
I mean, literally, I remember giving my kid a bath with my wife, on the tour bus, and having to switch gears, and I go make myself a cocktail just to feel like I'm a rock star, making sure I didn't have any spit up on me.
Yeah, you walk out and you got like a little spittle here, and trying to be cool.
I think that's
really
cool,
fun.
though. You guys have really been grinding it out, though, over the past few years. What do we have here? 5 albums in 6 years, and then you took a break.
Yeah.
How did you know you needed to take a break? Were you at each other's throats, or did you just...
No.
No? Okay.
Honestly, it was just, I think we were all a little bit fatigued. We really didn't stop for almost a decade, and we all had children or were about to have children.
That was the main thing. It was
and
like for families more than anything.
Yeah, knowing that you can't get that time back, and when they're little, they are a lot of work, but they're also a lot of fun, and you're getting all those firsts with your kids, and it's just really important to be there and be present. And so, that coupled with some other passion projects that we wanted to pursue, it was just time, and we always knew that we would reconvene. It was never going to be it was never touch and go, is this permanent or is this temporary? It was always, we're going to play some shows this summer, we'll see you, and we'll be back in a year, and we'll make, what we hope to be a great record.
And I was going to say, one of the coolest things, we got to do is it was Dave's idea to get ourselves out of Nashville. We moved to LA and literally Airbnb'd a house for a month, wrote every day, recorded in another home studio out in Los Angeles, and we wrote like we did when we first started, and I think that was kind of the key for us, was let the fans have a little break from us and also get back to what made us, a tight-knit group, and that was writing songs.
And then you've got this new album, Heartbreak, right?
Yes.
And it's got a different sound, I think.
It does.
Especially
the first single. First single has horns in it, and that was Hillary's idea. She wanted horns.
Really? Oh, I've been begging for horns. One of my favorite songs ever is Sir Duke.
Oh, right.
by Stevie
I
Wonder.
love that
And
song,
so-
Stevie Wonder, yeah.
And so that just, it's so signature that, you know, the horns in that song. And I just think that anytime you're ever at a show or watching an award show and you see a trumpet player and a trombone player come up, you're like, something's about to shift in here. Like the energy's gonna shift, and it just adds a different dynamic.
Well, you know, it's funny. I love old country, and I'm a huge Elvis fan. And a lot of Elvis's, especially his country stuff, like "There Goes My Everything," blaring horns, and so it's not like it's alien to
Johnny
country.
Cash, you know,
Right.
dun, 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 dun.
Exactly, right. So it's not an alien concept to country music.
We're bringing it back.
Yeah.
You know, you mentioned Elvis. Elvis also did a few gospel albums, and you
right.
talked about your passion projects, and you won a Grammy for the gospel album that you did.
She got two.
With,
Yeah,
congratulations.
with your family, and your acceptance speech was so touching. I don't want to like bring up, you know, anything, but I do want to ask you, you know, what that whole journey was like for you, and then to be applauded by your peers.
Oh my gosh! Well, I lost all ability to be eloquent when I got up on that stage, but you know, I think we all want to leave a legacy, and it's really special when you can include your family in that. And you know, I learned how to sing on old hymns with my mom and dad, and my baby sister is 14 years younger than me, and honestly, it's just, we're still kind of floating. It feels so surreal, and we're so grateful. And I mean, to be able to hand my dad a Grammy and hear him speak, you know, with such gratitude and just the journey that we've been on together as a family, which has had its highs and lows, just like everybody. It was very just incredible.
And I imagine getting to where you are now, you really couldn't do it without your family. Families you came from and the families you were
100%.
building, right?
Yeah, and my family here,
Right.
the blessing to do it, and to, you know, they've been my greatest supporters through it all.
We were talking about Elvis, and you mentioned the gospel music. I mean, for Elvis, as you guys probably know, that's what he mostly listened to and what he mostly sang when he wasn't performing. Is that the case with you? I mean, how much influence does that spiritual music play into? Because your harmonies sound very
I met
spiritual.
Dave was in the band for the youth group.
Yeah,
you know,
I
that
mean-
was how we first met. I knew he played music.
A lot of the family harmonies, though, come from that. I mean, a lot of modern music actually comes from a lot of those chord progressions of old, you know, spiritual music and gospel music. So, I mean, it's kind of in every genre, really.
Yeah, and when you're growing up, other than school, that's really one of the only other places you can perform if you're excited about music and singing, you know. And so I think that's a common place that a lot of us kind of get our feet wet performing is in church.
So we have a lightning round of questions
do.
that we
Okay.
wanted to ask you guys.
They're not hard. They're
Make
not
it all
hard.
political.
Yeah, right.
We got a lot of things we want to talk about.
Well, let me ask you that since you raised it.
Oh God, no.
One of the things does country music have the
Publicist
same?
is losing.
I'm not going to ask you a question about politics, but I will ask you that, you know, in the 60s, a lot of popular music reflected what was happening in the country at the time. But country music didn't. It sort of always has been more or less talking about some of the themes that it's always
Day-to-day
reflected,
life.
day-to-day
Yeah.
life.
Loss.
Is that the way you see it as well?
Yeah, for us, I mean, we want to be an escape. There's so much political talk, and I mean, you know, no
And
matter.
that's important. It is.
Yeah, it is.
But you know, I think it's important for people that are really, really educated in every aspect of it to talk about it. And for us, we just want people to come to our shows.
Feel
we want
good.
them to really enjoy themselves, to maybe escape from whether it's the news or their own life, something they're going through, a heartbreak or whatever, you know. And that's what we feel like our place is.
That was so great.
Yeah, it was.
Hanging out with Lady Antebellum. They are so cool. They're so great. And that lightning round that I mentioned is still to come, so please stay tuned for that.
Right. And don't forget to watch the 52nd Academy of Country Music Awards. That's on Sunday, April the 2nd at 8 o'clock Eastern, only on CBS.